live yet, guys. I know the mics are live, but Dallas, you want to stand back here with me? Okay. If you want to stand back here, Valerie, or Cindy, if Cindy wants to stand back here. All right, you guys got all your white paper stuff? Everybody's good? Mic's hot? You want me to do my name and stuff to get started, or just start? All right, my name is Tom Blair. That's Tomblair. I am the district engineer in St. Louis for the Missouri Department of Transportation. All right, we're all good? All right. What? Do you guys want their name and spelling before, if they say anything? When you get up. So if you do get up to say something, just say your name, spell your name, and your title. All right, good morning. Thank you for being here today. At MoDOT, safety is a top priority, not just for our employees and for our contractors, but for every person that uses Missouri's transportation system. Whether you're driving a vehicle, riding a bicycle, or walking near or across a roadway, safety matters. That's why we're here today with some of our safety partners. So with me today, I have Trail Nets, I have Great Rivers Greenway, and we have the Missouri Highway Patrol. But that's why we're here today with some of our safety partners. We're launching today officially the Heads Up St. Louis educational campaign that is focused on raising awareness around pedestrian safety for our region. At some points, we all become pedestrians. Whether it is a planned walk, a planned commute that we might have, that we plan to walk from point A to point B, or it's an unplanned moments when my car breaks down or when I'm in a traffic incident, we all become pedestrians. In the St. Louis region, which includes for MoDOT standpoint, the city of St. Louis County, St. Charles County, Franklin, and Jefferson County, we have experienced 49 pedestrian fatalities in 2024 throughout that region, 49. Now, that's not just a big number. That represents 49 real people. That represents 49 real families, 49 communities that have been in fact impacted by preventable tragedies. This campaign is part of the October Pedestrian Safety Awareness Month, and we are proud to launch the Heads Up St. Louis campaign that is focused on raising awareness and changing behaviors to protect pedestrians across our region. But I need everyone's help. And I thank the media partners be here because I need everyone's help because we need to get this message. We're going to send it out on social media. We have billboards. We have other platforms that we're sending this Heads Up campaign out throughout the St. Louis market. But we need everybody to amplify this message, everybody to believe this, and everybody to take action on this. Whether you're driving, whether you're walking, whether you're rolling, we need you to keep your heads up. We need you to be alert, and we need you to be aware. Now, I have some drivers for those motorists specifically. Let's start with them. Let's start with the motorists. We're asking drivers through this campaign to take the simple but powerful steps to protect motorists. First and foremost, always be on the lookout for pedestrians. As motorists, we have a responsibility, and we should always be prepared throughout the St. Louis region to be on the lookout for pedestrians. Consider it, think about it, think if there's a pedestrian everywhere all the time. If you could learn how to drive that way, we won't have 49 fatalities anytime in the future years of this region. We also ask drivers to use caution in low visible conditions especially, because when we get into the numbers drive us to show that there is a large portion of these pedestrian serious injury and fatal crashes that are occurring at night, they're occurring in bad weather, they're occurring at dawn and dusk. And many motorists seem to think that there aren't pedestrians during those conditions, but there are. We ask motorists to simply yield to pedestrians. We have many situations in the St. Louis region where the pedestrian was abiding the law. They were in the crosswalk and the motorist did not yield. Now, yielding means one thing that I see a lot of motorists in St. Louis not do well. We don't even stop as motorists behind the stop bar, more or less not stopping in the pedestrian crosswalk. MoDOT works really hard to put those stripes on the road, and we need you to obey them. So when you come up to a stop condition, stop behind the stop bar, stop behind the striped pedestrian crosswalk to give those pedestrians that safe room they need to cross that road. I believe the Highway Patrol will talk a little bit more about those conditions that you happen to find yourself in when your vehicle breaks down or when you're in vehicle crash and you become what I think of as an unplanned pedestrian. So I'll give him room to talk about that. In general, for motorists, I want motorists to understand that pedestrians are not obstacles. Let me say it again. Pedestrians are not obstacles for us as motorists. They are road users just like drivers and just like cyclists. We must expect pedestrians, we must respect pedestrians, and we must protect them as drivers. Now let's talk about those pedestrians. We have tips for them too. When you are a pedestrian, whether you're a planned pedestrian and you plan this walk on foot, or whether you're an unplanned pedestrian, you need to take responsibility. You need to make sure you're seen, that you can be seen. You need to take responsibility, make sure you're doing everything you can to be safe. You need to also have your heads up. You need to have your phone down when you're a pedestrian. You, just like the motorists, have to follow the rules, obey the signs, obey the crossings. You need to use sidewalks when they're available. And if there are none, you need to walk toward traffic. You don't need to walk with traffic. You need to stay alert. You need to avoid distractions to keep yourself safe. You need to follow marked crosswalks whenever they're possible, and if they aren't, you need to choose well-lit, well-thought-out areas to cross the road if there is not a designated crosswalk available to you. You always need to, as a pedestrian, watch for vehicles. Remember, you are a vulnerable road user, and if there is an incident, you're probably going to get hurt worse. So watch for those vehicles. And then for many of us as adults, I think we need to teach each other, but definitely the younger generation, great safe walking habits. And I know TrailNet and their group works really hard to educate a lot of us on a lot of those skills that we all need to have as drivers and as pedestrians to get home safely. Now let's look at these numbers as part of this campaign. What drives us? Why does all this really matter? I mentioned 49 pedestrian fatalities in 2024 throughout the St. Louis region, but let me look at now. Right now in the St. Louis region, in those same counties I mentioned earlier, there have been 169 traffic fatalities throughout the St. Louis region. So 169 traffic fatalities throughout the St. Louis region so far this calendar year. That's 169 too many. That's similar to what we saw this time last year. But what's most alarming about that rate to me, when I think of this pedestrian safety campaign, is that approximately 25% of those 169 were pedestrians. Think about that. I don't know that we all think about the fact that how many pedestrians and what percentage, 25%, 1/4 of the fatalities that have occurred in the St. Louis region, not just on the state transportation system, but on local city streets, county city streets, all over the St. Louis region, 25% of those fatalities have been deemed pedestrians. When I look at a 10-year period, 2014 to 2024, there have been 497 pedestrian fatalities in the St. Louis region, nearly 500 pedestrian fatalities in the St. Louis region over the last decade. When you look at that, almost 80% of them have occurred in nighttime conditions. Again, motorists need to be prepared for pedestrians all the time, even in dark conditions. 80% of those 500 fatalities occurred in nighttime conditions. Over 70% of them were males. 43% of them were aged over 50, and 82% of those pedestrian fatality crashes occurred in the city of St. Louis or in St. Louis County. 82% occurred in the city of St. Louis or in St. Louis County. These are not just statistics, these are people. These are our neighbors, our family members, our friends. They're part of our community, and this is preventable. In Missouri, we know that distraction and speed are a deadly combination. Whether you're behind the wheel or on foot, stay alert. That can make the difference between life and death. Now I want to repeat the campaign again, and then we'll turn it over to my partners here. This is October. This is Pedestrian Safety Awareness Month, and we are proud to launch our Heads Up St. Louis campaign, focused on raising awareness and changing behaviors to protect pedestrians across our region. And we need everyone's help to amplify that message and make sure that message isn't just a message that goes in one ear and out the other, but has an impact. We need everyone, whether you're driving, whether you're walking, whether you're rolling, to keep your head up, to be alert, and to be aware. So please drive smarts, walk smarts, roll smarts, and always have your heads up. Now, I do want to acknowledge, because I know some out there will say, well, that's great. What else are you doing? We are focused on this education campaign, but we are also at MoDOT. We're not just asking for everyone to change their behavior. We are also advancing many infrastructure improvements throughout our region to make walking safer for everyone. MoDOT and our partners, many of our partners, are aligning with many national best practices from federal highway and other sources to promote and implement infrastructure improvements such as pedestrian refuge islands, high visibility crosswalks, enhanced lighting, signalized crossings, and leading pedestrian intervals. We have a long list of safety improvements that we're working with a lot of our partners on to make walking and driving and riding your bike in the St. Louis region safer. This campaign is about all of us as those people walking, biking, and riding and driving to do our part to keep each other safe. So with that, I have with me, I acknowledged earlier, Missouri Highway Patrol and Great Rivers Greenway and TrailNet, and I would give the opportunity. I'll start with Dallas Thompson from Missouri Highway Patrol.
Thank you, Tom. Good morning. Dallas Thompson, DALLAS THOMPSON with the Missouri State Highway Patrol. First off, I'd like to say we appreciate MoDOT including us in this campaign to continue our partnership with them to get these safety messages out. There's not a whole lot more I can say that he didn't say right there. He did a fantastic job with the numbers and some safety points and tips. But I would like to reiterate a few things. I think repetition is where it's at. The more you hear it, then maybe you might hear it from somebody different and it sink into you, and you might think about things before you find yourself in danger. Like you said, sometime in our life we might all find ourselves being pedestrians. Sometimes it's planned. We're out exercising and working out and trying to do things to be healthy. But other times it might be because we didn't plan it. Our vehicle broke down on the shoulder of the roadway. Maybe we was involved in a traffic crash and we're trying to walk somewhere to get some help. All right. Regardless, like he said, heads up. Be aware of your surroundings. Watch for other traffic on the roadway. We always encourage motorists to be paying attention to the roadway ahead and paying attention to the full-time job of driving, but pedestrians also have that same responsibility. If you find yourself in a crash, whether it's good weather or in a snowy weather, stay inside that vehicle. Call for help. Let us get emergency responders out there to you, and that way you can stay inside that vehicle in the safety of your vehicle and not standing outside where you can be struck by another vehicle. If you're going to be walking, if you're walking at nighttime for whatever reason, try to have some bright colored clothing, reflective clothing on, so motorists can see what's coming up. A lot of times there's not much lighting on the streets or on the highways, so the drivers can't see you as they're approaching you. A lot of these motorists are walking right along the edge of the white line, right inside the lane of traffic, and motorists can't see them until it's too late and they can't avoid them. So always give yourself room when you're walking. If possible, even walk against the flow of traffic instead of with the flow of traffic, so you can see the traffic coming at you, oncoming traffic. Maybe during the daytime, they can see you, you can see them, you can make eye contact with that driver as they're approaching, and you kind of know, they can know what your intentions are as a pedestrian. So there's lots of things we can do, but the great message I think Tom had there is heads up. Have your head on a swivel, be watching, eliminate your distractions as a pedestrian. Don't be walking across streets with those ear pods and headphones on. Be able to hear traffic coming on around you, and just eliminate those distractions. We say it for the drivers, put the phones down. If you're going to be crossing busy streets and highways, put the phone down and pay attention as you're crossing those roadways. So with that, I'll pass it on to our next colleague.
All right, Great Rivers Greenway has no remarks. I didn't know, TrailNet, if you have anything you want to add to the conversation.
I wonder, Tom, if you could talk a little bit.
You have to introduce yourself.
Hi, Cindy Mentz, CINDY, MENSE, CEO at TrailNet. Join me, Tom. I wonder if we could talk a little bit about the role of speeding cars and how when you go a certain speed, it's unlikely that a pedestrian is going to survive. So a little more advice for drivers. What else can we do?
Yeah, that's a great point, Cindy. We know, partnering with TrailNet and with the Highway Patrol and everybody, that speed matters. in every crash, every instance. And it matters even more when you're talking about a vulnerable user, such as a bicyclist or pedestrian. The 40% of all the pedestrian fatalities occur on roads across the state of Missouri that are posted at 50 miles per hour or higher. 40%. That's a big number, and then what happens is speed really matters. And I know Dallas and the Highway Patrol and all responding officers, they see that first. They are often the first individuals on scene after a vehicle crash has occurred. And when pedestrians are involved, speed really matters, because I know that physical impact of a vehicle with a body, just imagine that for all of you, at 50 miles per hour, even at 20 miles per hour, what it can do. I don't know if you have anything else to say about speed.
Well, obeying traffic speed limits is paramount as well. If you're driving within the posted speed limits, then you have a lot of times more reaction time yourself. You're able to keep your vehicle under control yourself. So you see an object or a person, you may have more time to react to that if you're following the posted speed limits.
All right, with that, we'll take any questions you guys might have. Yeah, I mean, the number one thing is heads up for all of us. Whether I'm on foot, whether I'm driving a vehicle, whether I'm riding a bike, heads up, be alert, be smart. For pedestrians, also, I think we have also extra responsibility to be seen, more so than even drivers. You know, we don't want that situation where I can't be seen. I happen to be in a situation where I'm not seen. So I think that's an added thing I think of as a pedestrian when I'm thinking about that. What am I going to wear? Am I in a situation, because I want those motorists to see me, so I do my part to keep myself safe. Other questions?
Tom, this is may not have anything to do with this, but one of our reporters they spotted a whole basketball hoop on Highway 270 northbound from Clayton Road to 64, and on the side of the road on the left-hand lane. Is MoDOT? I mean, it's obviously a hazard. There's a whole basketball hoop.
And it's there now?
It's there now.
270 northbound between 64 and, where'd you say?
Clayton Road and 64.
All right, yeah.
Manchester, one of our photographers saw it a couple of days ago. It's been there for a couple of days. Does MoDOT have a program to help get litter off the roads? I know it's hard, but people aren't towing or they're not tying down their loads or anything. Things fall off. It's a real danger.
Yeah, so as far as debris on the roadsides, yes, that is a concern, and MoDOT does pick up a lot of debris. I don't have all the data in front of me, but we spend a lot of money, a lot of our time picking up litter that was either placed there by somebody throwing it there when they're driving, or by not controlling their load. In fact, earlier this year with the Missouri Highway Patrol as a partner, we actually increased our enforcement for controlling your load and everything. If anyone sees debris out there on the roadway, like you say on 270, please call MoDOT, 188-ASK-MoDOT, or you can call *55. They can also get a hold of us, and we'll dispatch our crews, and we'll take care of getting that litter clean. So thanks for reporting that. I'll make sure our team gets out there.
Do you guys ever look into the cameras? Do you guys see that stuff on cameras?
Yes, we do. We here at the Transportation Management Center, MoDOT operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Again, you can contact us and report any concerns you have as a citizen to us, and please do that at 188-ASK-MoDOT. And yes, we have hundreds of cameras across the interstate system throughout the St. Louis region. We're constantly monitoring them. For the most part, we're focused on traffic incidents and helping our fire and EMS and law enforcement partners clear that scene as quickly and safely as we can to keep everybody moving. But we also use those cameras to identify problems with the road, such as road debris. I don't know if I heard you, Shonda. Okay. All right. So Shonda took care of it for you. The crew is en route to take care of that debris on the side of 270. Thank you.
Well, you got to think of it this way. The more traffic, the more people walking, the more probability these things are going to happen. It's just like traffic crashes. You get out on the busy Interstate 270, there's a higher probability we're going to have crashes. So So when you're in a higher volume of traffic and more people walking, you got a higher probability of these things happening than out in a rural area where there's less traffic, less people walking.
Any other questions? Otherwise, I would say thank you very much for helping us amplify this message. And let's make a commitment as drivers, as pedestrians, and as a community to look out for one another. Every step we take toward awareness is a step toward saving lives. So today and every day, let's keep our heads up, our eyes open, and our roads safe for everyone. Thank you for helping get that message and get that commitment out there. Have a great day.